Hey, boredom, what's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite albums. And today I'm going to do an album review on the latest R.A.P Ferreira album, Bob's Son. R.A.P Ferreira in the Garden Level Cafe of the Scallops Hotel. That's the full name of the album. Or I will call it Bob's Son. So, R.A.P Ferreira, aka Milo, he is back with another album released on January 1st of 2021. And yeah, it's alright. Last year I released a R.A.P Ferreira album, that is the Purple Moonlight Pages, and it became one of my favorite albums of the year because it is such an intricate and interesting abstract rap album with very creative production choices, very poetic lyrics, and all in all just a really fun and nice and interesting attitude. And R.A.P Ferreira has returned, but this time in Bob's Son. It's nowhere near the experimentation and the creativity of Purple Moonlight Pages, in my opinion. It just feels like a bunch of random, small instrumental ideas and lyrical ideas just pieced together in a very effortless and aimless way. And I'm not saying that there is no effort in this album, there is a lot, but this album just feels kind of disjointed and kind of laid back in a way it doesn't have any sense of importance at all. A lot of the instrumentals on this album sound pretty similar in that they're pretty scant, they're pretty quiet, and pretty simple. The beats are usually pretty disjointed and irregular. The performances are usually very laid back, very chilled, and sometimes he would even stop rapping and start singing along to the instrumental or the sample very relaxedly. And the lyrics, when I heard this album, I thought, okay, the lyrics are kind of weird. I may want to check it out on Genius. And I checked it out and I'm even more confused because the lyrics, they are really, really abstract. And that's actually one of the more cool things about the album, really. So the album starts off with Battle Report, which has these relaxing, smooth pianos, which are really nice, and the whole track is where R.A.P Ferreira just goes, play Bob's Son, activate Bob's Son, initiate Bob's Son, go Bob's Son. And he just spends the entire track saying Bob's Son over and over and over again. Lyrically, it's a little weird, but instrumentally, I actually managed to enjoy it. The next track is a really strange and forgettable cut. It has these really repetitive, runny keyboards, the beat is really disjointed, and then in the second half of the track, we get these reversed trumpet sounds which do not really match the first half at all. And overall, I just find it kind of underwhelming and lackluster. The third track, Yamships, Flaxseed, is another instrumental highlight on the album for me. We get these really, really nice, euphoric, dreamy keyboards, and the second half of the track also features some interesting beats. The track is essentially about his creative process, at least that is how I speculate it to be, given how abstract the lyrics are. But it's really interesting, and halfway through the track, he just stops rapping and starts humming along to the pianos very aimlessly. Again, this album sounds like a bunch of lyrical ideas and a bunch of instrumental ideas just pieced together with not much in between, not much of a concept, just a chilled, laid back, kind of abstract rap album. And that's exactly what this track kind of gives off to me. The fourth track, Diogenes, on the auction block, starts off pretty interesting where he sort of imagines himself as like a slave on an auction block, and how he sort of explains what kind of person he is in that standpoint. The instrumentals are very scant. We get these one note guitars, and he borderlines on spoken word on this track. The track Redguard Snipers is easily one of my favorites on the entire album. It's one of the only two songs that actually sound like consistent, coherent songs. This one has these very consistent inorganic beats, plus these really nice laid-back muffled keyboards. The delivery is very blissful, and the guest feature and him has a lot of chemistry on this track. It's very fun, it's very warm, and it's very energetic as well. And again, this track is kind of like about their creative process and sort of talking about the power of creation. New words, new verbs, new slurs, new nouns, just new this, new that, new this, new that. And they're sort of appreciating that, with the power of imagination and creation, you can create all these new things. The track Sips of Ripple Wine has a very scant instrumental and, once again, borderline spoken word performance. There is a pretty nice soul sample, but overall it's just kinda meh. The track Skrenth is one of the more interesting cuts on the album because it has a really icy bass and these peppity hi-hats. And all in all, the instrumental sounds like it is building up to something, but it never really reached a conclusion. But in a sense, that made the track kinda interesting tonally. And we have a lot of wordplay on this track. And again, I don't exactly know what the hell's going on with the lyrics, but I speculate he's sort of talking about his own feelings. And there's also that one line in the first verse, the Titanic sank because black people weren't allowed on it. Ooh, shots fired. Anyways, the next track is Bobby Digital's Little Wing. And we get these runny, watery guitars, which is really nice, but it just keeps on going over and over again. It just feels stagnant overall in general. The track Listening has these aimless pianos and these refrains. I remind myself it is all good. I remind myself it is all good. And again, instrumentally, kind of forgettable, kind of scant, lyrically, kind of confusing. The track High Rise in Newark has a muddier instrumental but contrasted with some nice bright guitars, and we have these lyrics about spirits clinging, which is really interesting. And the track Rejoice is the other coherent track that I mentioned, with the sappy guitars that are also really warm and kind of nostalgic in a sense. The album ends off with Abominist Manifesto, which is basically like a spoken word piece but on top of a nearly non-existent instrumental. And this track is about abominists, where R.A.P Ferreira goes, an abominist does this, an abominist does that. They live lives, they die deaths, they drink drinks, they smoke smokes. They don't mention the word square unless they're talking to squares. And I did some research. Apparently he's talking about Bob Kaufman, an American poet. And the second track of the album is also kind of like a reference to him. And so I guess he is heavily, I guess R.A.P Ferreira is heavily influenced by Bob Kaufman in the making of this album. But overall, still instrumentally, it's kind of scant. It's kind of here and there. There are a lot of moments on the album which sound kind of aimless, kind of directionless, not really all that coherent at all. Lyrically, it's kind of interesting and poetic, which is really nice, but I guess that is the only thing going for it. Still, I enjoy a good bit of the songs on this album. My favorite track here is Redguard Snipers, and my least favorite is the Cough Bomber's Return. I am giving R.A.P Ferreira's Bob's Son, R.A.P Ferreira in the Garden Level Cafe of the Scallops Hotel, a strong 6 to a light 7 out of 10. So, have you listened to the latest R.A.P Ferreira album? From 1 to 10, how much did you rate it? Like it, and subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching. I will review the latest Ashnico mixtape tomorrow, and then at some point, Shame, latest album. Yeah.